Hi everybody. In this lesson we're going to learn about the Java assignment operators. Again, this is very similar to what you'll see in other languages and JavaScript in particular, because that's what we'll be learning next as far as a language goes. So we'll be learning JavaScript, and this is directly applied to learning JavaScript as well. So if you learn it here, you'll know it in JavaScript when we get to it. Okay, so assignment operators, we've been using them already, especially this one. The equals operator. I guess we haven't used any of the others yet. Well, we have. We've used the incrementers, and I'll show you those in a little bit. So this equals operator we've been using, obviously, it's setting a variable equal to the value on the right side. So declare your variable type, and you've seen this already that we've been doing it. Variable name could be anything. I named this one thing. Equals to the value on the right side. So in this case, thing will be equal to 2 once this operator happens. Okay, so these other ones aren't used very much. It's a shortcut, and I'll show you that when we start playing with these a little bit. But it's a shortcut for thing equals thing plus 2 in this case. So here's where we're incrementing it by a number. So thing equals 2, and then thing plus equals 3 becomes 5. You can do the same thing by saying thing equals thing plus 3, and that will equal 5. Same thing, but this is just shorthand, and you might see it in some programs. It's handy to reduce the typing. I don't use them very often, but sometimes I do. And then they all follow the same suit as far as the math operators go that we just did. So subtraction does what you would expect. Thing minus equals 2. If thing was 5, it's now equal to 3. Same thing with multiplication. So this is going to be a quick lesson, but we'll get into a little bit of a coding learning part of this, and that will make it more clear if it's not clear now. Multiplication, I think we just did that one. Oh, we didn't. We did subtraction. So if thing is equal to 5, then thing times equals 3 is 15. So it's just doing the operation without having to specify the variable again. It's a shortcut. And then division, you'll see that one. And then same thing with modulo. It's going to divide by 6 and then give you the remainder. So that's how that works. Now, ones that we have seen before also, this plus plus operator, we've used this in our for loops. So when we covered loops, we had an incrementer at the back of the for loop, and that's pretty much what I use those for. Sometimes if you're in some kind of a while loop or you're incrementing something, you'll use these. Now, there's a post and there's a pre. So a post incrementer, which is the one I think is used more often, is you can set the counter equal to something. In this case, we call the variable counter. And if you do a plus plus operation on it, it will just increment by 1. So it's used often enough that Java and other languages have added it as an operation. So in this case, I will equal 1 because if you access it when the operation is occurring, it's going to increment the variable after it returns the value of it. So when it's read, it's going to read the value that it currently is and give that to you, and then it's going to go ahead and increment it after that. So in this case, I is equal to 1. The counter is now equal to 2, so the next time it's accessed, for j here, it will be equal to 2. And the pre-incrementer is the same thing, but it's going to do it first. So if our counter is equal to 1, and then we go ahead and read that variable, it's going to increment it first and then give us the variable value. So then we've got an I equals 2 in this case, and then the counter equals 2, so it gave it to us already incremented. And then if we access it, it's going to be equal to 2 still. We got the same thing for decrementers, and this could be used in the case where you want to count down. So if you're in a for loop, you would count down, or if you're in another kind of loop, you would basically be counting backwards, counting down. So in this case, our counter is equal to 3, and in the case of the post decrementer, we're going to read the variable as the value was before it was decremented, and then it'll be decremented. In this case, I equals 3, counter equals 2. And then when we read the variable value again, it's decremented. And then in the case of the pre, just like the case of incrementing, in decrementing, it's going to give it to us before or after it does the decrementing. So in this case, counter equals 3. We're going to decrement the counter, and it's going to read, and we'll get 2, and the counter is equal to 2. And then if we read counter again, j will be equal to 2. So that's how those decrementers and assignment operators work. Again, I don't use them very often, but they are a handy shortcut. The decrementers get used very often, especially this. I do for loops, and so the post incrementer in for loops is used very often. Okay, so that's how those work. Let's just go ahead and try a few of them, and then this lesson will be done. All right, so I'm going to take our Hello World application, and let's just do a decrementer. So, all right, let's just run through each of them. So, I equals 0, which we've seen before. So let's go ahead and system out, print line that. All right, and so if we run that, we're going to get 0, which we did. Okay, so now let's go ahead and kind of set up what we had before. Let's call this counter. And I spell it right would help. Okay, so it's counter, and let's set it equal to 1. All right, so then let's do the same thing that was in the lesson. Might as well. So we'll set that to I, and we're going to do counter plus plus. And let's go ahead and print this out here. And you guys play with these too, so you get used to them, because you will see them, and they are used in other languages. All right, let's see what I is, and then let's see what counter is. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I is 1, didn't increment yet, and then counter is equal to 2, but let's make it a little bit easier to read for us. Okay, so let's do that again. Okay, now we can see I equals 1 and counter equals 2, so it post incremented it. All right, so let's do a decrement operation on it. And let's increment or increase that value. And if we run this one, okay, so we had it equal to 3, it decremented, I is equal to 3 when we did this operation, so this operation right here, and then we've got the counter here. Now you could also do this without assigning the variable, so we could actually do this. So it's going to return the value here, and then this will be incremented or decremented. Ready? Here we go. So equals 3, and then it equals 2. That's a little less clear, so let's go back. I'm hitting Command Z to go backwards. Okay, so let's do a couple more. So if our counter is 3, let's go ahead and do a plus operation. Now you would use this operation if you want to increment by more than 1. So let's go ahead and increment by 2. And there's no pre and post on these. Oh, I isn't the one. We want to do counter. Okay, sorry about that. Plus equals 2. Okay. So now we're just going to look at counter. There is no pre and post on these. So this should come out to be 5. And it does. Okay, so let's do them for each. So we've got a times operator. And that's 6. See that down here. And let's do a minus operator. Did we do that? I don't remember if we did. That should equal 1. It does. Okay, and then we'll do a division operator. Now this is going to give us a non-decimal number because we're using integers here. Let's do that really quick just to see. See, it gave us 1 even though it's actually 1.5. So let's go ahead and change this type to a double. Now we get 1.5. That's what we expected. Okay, and then same thing for the modulo operator. Let's go ahead and make this, I don't know, 17, I guess. And let's go ahead and do 5 modulo 5. And that should give us 2. And it did. Okay, so that works. And then, did we do the decrementers? I don't think we did those yet. So let's go ahead and these work with doubles or ints. I'm just going to do ints. All right, so let's do system dot print line. Okay, so let's decrement that value. And so you could do these various ways. So if I do it here, it's going to print 16 because I'm doing it post or pre. If I do it here, it's going to give 17, which it did. And the value is, got a bunch of spaces at the end there. And the value is going to be 16. Let's see, where is that? The run button, there it is. So we've got 17 because it's a post operation, and then 16 is what the value is now. All right, and then that was minus minus. Let's do plus plus. I don't know if I did plus plus. If I'm doing it again, then it's all right, more practice. All right, it's 17 at the operation, and then 18 here. All right, and then now let's do the pre-operations. So that should give us 18 and 18, which it did. Okay, that's it for the assignment operators. You won't see them too much. Actually, let's go ahead and do one more thing. You've seen this before, but I'm just going to do it so it'll be familiar to you, because this is where you will see it. So int I equals 0. You will see this. You've seen this already in a couple of them. I less than 5, let's do. And then I plus plus. That's one that you will see a lot. All right, so let's print this out. And we're going to print I. So what you're going to see here is it's going to start at 0. Now if I did a a different operation, it should do the same thing. So in this case, it won't matter. It'll still start at 0 because we're assigning it to 0 here. So it's going to count, but we'll see what happens anyway. All right, so it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now if we do a post on this, you'll see that it's going to be the same. And we'll explain why in a second. Still 0. The value I is being read right here at the beginning. And it's being read every time it comes around. So it doesn't matter when you increment it on this side. It's going to go ahead and increment. And we're not capturing the value here of this operation. We're only capturing I here. So the value is being incremented and then it's being changed over here. So we're not assigning. So that's the difference there. And that's one that you'll see. So that's, you'll typically see it this way. That's the one that's used most because it actually makes more sense in this context. Okay, and that's it for assignment operators. Thanks for watching.